Hi there, it's Jane. It's Reflections by Jane. Today I've got a project for you using the Crafter's Companion shaker card dies and this Nitwit's Bloom with Grace collection as well. I purchased this collection from Crate and Craft a couple of weeks ago, I think it was now, and it is absolutely fabulous. For all you paper pervs out there, you're in for a real treat. So I'm just going to do a quick rundown of everything that you get in the kit. That's a 6x6 decoupage pad. Each page is exactly the same and it consists of die cut elements that you can decoupage, and each one is numbered so you won't get confused. It tells you exactly which piece to place where, and you get a lovely decoupage element. Then you get a stamp and die set. As you can see here, I've got 3 dies and 3 floral stamps, and I think there's a couple of sentiments on that set as well. And it cuts beautifully, it stamps beautifully, and I think I'll get a lot of use out of this set. So yeah, that's the stamp and die set that you get with it. You also get, which is up next, a sentiment stamp set. There's 7 or 8 stamps on there, I think, and each one is a lovely phrase that you could use. There's some bold font on there, and there's also a lovely cursive script on there as well. Okay, this is a 12x12 pad, and it consists of, I don't know how many elements there are in this pad. There must be hundreds. So you've got frames, tags, borders, buttons, swans, numbers, letters, I said buttons, didn't I, already? Duh. What a ding. So there must be, like I say, hundreds in there. So I'm just going to pop out 3 of these coloured buttons. I'm going to use them on my card today. In a moment, you'll see them being used shortly. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to show you a couple more pages in here. But look at those butterflies and swans. So I'm just popping out one of them smaller butterflies. Later on, you'll see me use that butterfly, but I wish I'd have picked one of the darker coloured ones, but you'll see shortly why. There's lots of toppers in here as well that can be used. You don't have to just use the numbers and the letters, just use a frame and put something in the middle of that frame, like a photograph of something in, say, like a memory book or something like that. And I think I will use this to make a memory book at some point. It's just finding the time at the moment. Next is another 12x12 paper pad, and the pattern, as you can see, I've used some of it already, but the patterns in it are absolutely fabulous. I love that black spot, and then there's some deeper, like burgundy colours. And I could have just sat there and flipped through this pad for ages, because I am a bit of a paper perv. And I just think they're fabulous. Some stripes, some dog tooth, and some there's a lovely floral one as well. And there's I think it's like a damask kind of vibe on it as well. Okay, and the next paper pad is another 12x12, and this is all your solid colours, and each of the solid colours matches the colours of the decoupage and the die cut elements and the floral and pattern papers perfectly. Absolutely goes perfectly with it. If you don't know anything about Nitwits, they're an online download company. If you go and check out Nitwit Collections online, I'll try and drop the link in the description below, but they have hundreds of different collections. I really urge you to go and have a look, and you can download the collections and then print them out at your heart's content. So yeah, click on that link below. I don't get any monetary I don't get any money back for clicking on that link. So just go and have a look. And then really good prices as well. Okay, so back to the card. Right, I'm doing a shaker card, and I'm using one of the heart die sets from Crafter's Companion. I think they released them about a year ago, and there was quite a few in the collection of die cut shapes. And you can create shaker cards quite easily. Okay, so now I've popped out those die cut elements from that 6x6 pad, and I'm just going around the edges of them with my scissors just to remove those little nicks that are left over from pushing them out of the pad. I've used small foam squares to decoupage those elements up together. You can use Collage glue, 3D glue gel, whatever you've got in your stash, but if you're comfortable working with foam pads, feel free to use those. So I'm going to do a 5x5 inch card, and I've cut a piece of that floral pattern paper down to just under 5 inches, and I'm just placing that outer edge heart on that piece of paper, and I'm just going to cut that out using my Gemini machine. I've got the large Gemini machine, and I use the junior plates to go through. So I've just cut that piece out, and now I'm just going to go round the edge with some high tack tape. So I've just speeded this bit up for you because it's a bit boring. It's a really strong tape, and it doesn't budge when you're using this kind of tape, so I do recommend it. So I'm just removing that backing with my tweezers, and instead of using acetate, which I normally use in shaker cards, I'm going to use some tulle. I bought some tulle recently I think it was from AliExpress, and I've had it in my stash for a little while but not used it. And I just thought it makes a great alternative to using acetate. I think Jennifer Maguire did a card using tulle. It was somebody, one of the big card makers in America. I think it was Jennifer Maguire. She used tulle instead of acetate. Now here's a quick tip for you. Your 3D foam tape, it's renowned for coming away from the roll, so I use a bit of washi just to hold that in place so it doesn't get dog-eared and, you know, lose its tack, what have you. When you put some 3D foam tape on around your shaker window, make sure that the ends meet, because otherwise your sequins or beads or whatever might fall out. And I'm just adding some more of that 3D foam tape to make sure that it's stable all the way round. Okay, so now I'm just using the smaller heart in the set to cut out a frame of the larger heart that I cut out to make the shaker window. So I want to create a frame just to give it a bit more of a finished look. So again, I'm just using my Gemini machine to cut that out. The frame is a little bit wonky, but I'm not bothered about that. You can hardly tell. When you see the still shots at the end of the video, let me know in the comments if you can see my wonky die cutting. So I'm adding some more of that high tack tape. I didn't say high tech this time. That's great. Yeah, so it's high tack tape, and that will adhere to the tulle window. Am I saying that right? Tulle, because it's spelt kind of strange, isn't it? Is it a French word? I don't really know. Where did the word tulle or yeah, that meshy stuff. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that that's adhered down to the red liner tape, the high tack tape. Make sure it's adhered down well. The only thing is now that tape is quite tacky on the inside, so any sequins you put in there will stick to it, and you don't want that. So I'm cutting another frame just out of I've got some scrap paper here. This was what was just lying around close to my desk. So I've cut out another frame, and I'm going to stick that on the inside, so that gets rid of all the tacky from the red liner tape. I'm just going to add some more wet glue on there as well, just to make sure it sticks down well. Okay, so I've got like I said earlier, I've got a 5" by 5" card base, which is ready to go. And I always try and make sure I've got it in the orientation that it's supposed to be, because you don't want to do any upside down cards. So I'm just making sure I've got the placement of my sequins in the right place before I put my shaker window on the front there. Just removing the backing from that shaker foam. It is quite fiddly, and it does take me a moment or two to get it all off. That's why I've sped this bit up, because again it's boring. Yes, so I'm just going to make sure that that is placed where I want it. Sorry, you're going to see my head in a moment. Apologies for that, but I just wanted to make sure I'd got the I'd got it lined up right. Make sure you press down firmly all around the foam to make sure it sticks to the card, so none of your sequins fall out. Okay, now I'm just going to decorate the card now. So I'm just going to adhere this panel now to my card base. I'm just using some strong PVA glue. I think this is the Tonic Craft Tacky stuff in my bottle, which I've still got quite a lot of, so I don't plan on changing any glues anytime soon. So yeah, I'm just making sure that that's stuck down centrally. So I've got a nice white border around the edge there, as well as the that sort of buff colour from the paper collection. So it all matches and it all coordinates with each other. So I'm just going to glue down now my decoupage element, and that's why I put the heart shaker window where I did, is so that I can have this sort of floral element right by it, which I think looks really pretty. Next up, I'm going to use the die in that set that says love, and I'm going to cut a piece out of that buff cardstock, and I'm also going to cut out a piece in gold mirri as well. And when I glue the buff coloured to the gold mirri, I'm just going to offset that slightly, so you get a nice little bit of a drop shadow, and that a little bit of that gold will peek through from behind. I just think it gives it a bit more of a nicer element, shall we say, a bit more of added dimension as well. Okay, so I'm just adding a couple of little blobs of glue here and there. I don't need too much glue, as it's a really strong PVA. And then I'll use my acrylic block just to hold that in place, just until the glue starts to set. I'm using my anti-static powder tool here to get rid of any greasy marks on the paper. I don't want the embossing powder to stick anywhere it shouldn't. And then I'll use some Versamark embossing ink on one of these sub-sentiments that comes with the die set. I think this one says sent with, and there's a whole range of different stamps on that little set that go perfectly, coordinate perfectly with the dies. Okay, so I'm just stamping that down, and then I'm going to use some gold tinsel embossing powder from Paper Mania. It's a really nice embossing powder actually. I've had it quite a while actually, and I use it quite often, especially on Christmas cards, that kind of thing. But I think with the gold sequins and the gold on that sentiment, it will coordinate lovely. So So I'm just doing a bit of housekeeping here, and then I'll heat set that embossing powder. I'm just letting my heat tool warm up for a few seconds before applying it to the paper, and then I'm heating from the back just to heat up the embossing powder, and then I'll switch to the front just till it's all completely melted. Now I've just picked up my guillotine just to trim down that sentiment. Now, making good use of my reverse tweezers, just to hold that sentiment while I apply some glue and then position it where I want it on my card. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp the inside of the card with the sentiment that says always. It's another stamp in the set. Like I said earlier, you get quite a few sub-sentiments, and this one is going to go on the inside perfectly. I'm stamping in Catherine Paula's Blackjack ink. It's not an intense black, it's more of like a charcoal grey, and it's quite subtle. So I didn't want to introduce any more colours to the card at this stage. So just stamping that down, getting a nice impression. And now I'm going to finish decorating the front of the card. So I'm just figuring out where I want everything to sit. Just adding some glue to those buttons. That's the green one going down, and then like a dark brown colour. I'm just sticking that one down. I'll add a foam square to the pink one, so that's slightly more raised up. And then I'll add some foam squares to the butterfly and position that on my card too. Okay, so I'm just finishing that up now, and that's almost it from me today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sticking with me till the end of the video. If you like it, please give my video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I will be uploading more videos in the near future. The links to Nitwits and my Facebook group are in the description below. And take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.